أعزائي طلاب وطالبات الصف الخامس الابتدائي، أهلا بكم في حلقة جديدة من مادة العلوم باللغة الإنجليزية تحت رعاية وإشراف وزارة التربية والتعليم. Welcome dear student. In this episode, we are going to continue lesson number 1, friction force. So let's start our episode. In the last episode, we studied something called friction force، يعني قوة الاحتكاك. وعرفنا قوة الاحتكاك وقلنا الديفينيشن بتاعها friction force. It is a force between two bodies or two objects in contact and it arises between them and act in opposite direction to motion and cause the object to slow down and stop. دايما قوة الاحتكاك بتعمل أو بتنشأ بين two objects لما يلمسوا بعض زي إيدينا الاتنين. لو إحنا لمسنا إيدينا لبعض وبدأنا نحرك هيبقى فيه force between the two surfaces here, and this force called friction force. Friction force always act in opposite direction. دايما قوة الاحتكاك بتبقى ايه؟ عكس اتجاه الحركة. تمام. بتسبب ايه قوة الاحتكاك؟ cause the object to slow down and stop. And there are three types of friction force. The first type, friction between solid objects, between solid and solid. يبقى احتكاك بين جسمين الاتنين في الحالة الصلبة. Friction between solid objects and air. Number 3, friction between solid object and water. There are three types. يبقى في 3 أنواع من الفريكشن فورس، كلهم friction، كلهم ليهم حاجات in common between them، حاجات بتجمعهم كلهم. Like all of them act in opposite direction. The friction between solid and solid, the friction between solid and air, friction between solid and water. And I want to explain all of them, so let's go to the glassboard. So let's see what we have on friction force. We said there are 3 types of friction. في 3 أنواع من الفريكشن. أول نوع قلنا solid and solid. So solid and solid, like what? Like a car that moving on a ground or on a road. So the friction between the car tires and the ground or the road, it is solid and solid. Both of them are solid. الاتنين يعتبروا solid. فده friction between solid and solid. The next one, friction between solid and air. So friction between solid and air like what? مين يقدر يديني example between solid and air? Let's imagine a bird flying in the air. So the bird will be like that. It's a bird. I'm trying to draw it, but as you see, I'm not good at drawing. So this bird flying in the air, so the friction between this body, it's a solid body, and the air, and this called solid and air, so it is air resistant. بنسميها مقاومة الهواء. يبقى air resistant, it is the resistance between, or the friction force between solid objects and air. This is air resistant. So let's write it. Air resistant. Air resistance. So let's move to the third type. The third type, it is friction between what? Who remember? Yeah, the friction between solid and water. Solid and water like what? Like fish swimming in water or like a ship in water. So let's draw something like a fish swims in water. So here is the water. So the friction here between water and a solid body, the fish, and this type of friction between solid and water called water resistant. So we have three types of friction between solid and solid, like a car and the ground, or car and the road. ده friction between solid and solid. النوع التاني friction between solid and air, like a bird, and we can imagine an aeroplane, anything that moves in air, so it is called air resistant. نفس الفكرة solid and air friction called air resistant أو مقاومة الهواء. ممكن نحس بمقاومة الهواء في حاجات كتير. لو احنا خرجنا ايدينا احنا والعربية ماشية بنحس بمقاومة الهواء. لو احنا بنسوق العجلة وماشيين بسرعة جدا هنحس بمقاومة الهواء. Solid and water, like fish swimming in water, so called water resistant أو مقاومة الماء. كل دول حد يقدر يقول لي ايه اللي بينهم in common؟ كلهم act in opposite direction, all of them resist motion, all of them cause object to slow down and stop. كل الحاجات دي بتبطئ الحركة، كل الحاجات دي act in opposite direction يعني عكس اتجاه الحركة، وهندرسهم بتفاصيل أكتر خلال الحلقة دي إن شاء الله. تعالوا نكمل. So let's continue. We studied in the last episode the first type, friction between solid bodies, and in this one we will study solid and air, which called air resistant, and solid and water, which called water resistant. So let's start. Friction between solid objects and air. This type of friction, as we said before, called air resistant. And we feel air resistant when we move by a bicycle, when we ride a bicycle, and this friction force called air resistant. And what we know else about air resistant, this type is friction force resulting from movement of an object through air. نتيجة لحركة جسم في الهواء اللي بينشأ حاجة اسمها air resistant أو friction force اسمها مقاومة الهواء. نعرف ايه تاني عن ال friction force اللي احنا بنسميها دلوقتي air resistant. Air resistant acts in opposite direction of the movement. Act in the opposite direction of movement. Again, factors affecting air resistant. Who remember factors affecting friction force in general? There are three types affecting, or three factors affecting friction in general. We said that in the last episode. First type of material, the speed of the object, and the surface area. Here we have two factors affecting air resistant. First one, the speed of the body. Second one, surface area of the moving body. يبقى عندنا سرعة الجسم هتأثر على مقاومة الهواء، حاجة تانية هتأثر على مقاومة الهواء اسمها surface area أو مساحة السطح. مساحة السطح اللي بيتعرض للهواء ده أكيد هيأثر على الريزيستنت، هيأثر على المقاومة، وهنعرفها دلوقتي بالتفصيل. نبدأ speed of the body. By increasing the speed, air resistant increase and vice versa. Mean by decreasing the speed, air resistant decrease. By increasing the speed, the air resistant increase. الريليشن دي بنسميها direct relation. Direct relation, increase. Both are increase and both decrease. So this is relation between the speed and the resistant, and it is a direct relation. Examples. Running fast in open air. When we run fast in open air, we feel air resistant, بنحس بمقاومة الهواء. ايه تاني؟ Riding a bicycle at a high speed. When we ride a bicycle, لما نقود دراجة أو نسوق العجلة بتاعتنا في الهواء نحس بالمقاومة الهواء، ومقاومة الهواء بتزيد كل ما احنا زودنا السرعة بتاعتنا. تمام. Another example. when a car moves at a high speed. When a car moves at a high speed, we feel the air resistant and air resistant increase. وممكن لو احنا جربنا نطلع ايدينا بره العربية كده، بس نخلي بالنا كويس جدا، هنحس بإيه؟ هنحس بمقاومة الهواء. وكمان لو حبينا نغير أشكال ايدينا، يعني نحط ايدينا بحيث ان السيرفيس اريا يكون كبير جدا، نشوف ونلاحظ هل الاير ريزيستنت كبيرة ولا حاسين بيها قليلة؟ طب لو غيرنا شكل ايدينا، يعني خلينا ايدينا بالشكل ده، في يعني الجزء السيرفيس اريا اللي بتواجه الهواء قليله جدا، زي ما احنا بنعمل ايدينا تبقى شكلها عامل كده، هنحس بالاير ريزيستنت ايه؟ هتبقى مور اور ليس. عاوز كلنا نجرب الطريقه دي، نجرب هل ايدينا لو احنا السيرفيس اريا كبير جدا اكبر ما يمكن، هيبقى الاير ريزيستنت كتير ولا قليله؟ ولو السيرفيس اريا قليل، هتبقى ايدينا، هتبقى الفريكشن فورس او الاير ريزيستنت كبير ولا قليل؟ Here is a question. Give reason. Air resistance depend on the speed of the body that moves through air. Why? Who can tell me? Why it depend on the speed? We said that because by increasing the speed of air, air resistance increases and vice versa. By decreasing the speed, air resistance decrease. Number 2, the surface area of the moving object. Surface area, we studied surface area يعني مساحة السطح. في مساحة سطح ممكن تكون كبيرة أو ممكن تكون صغيرة. طب ايه relation between surface area and air resistant? By increasing the surface area, resistant increases and vice versa. Examples on surface area. Streamlined shape of new cars, trains, rockets, and aircraft. يعني ايه streamlined shape? What's meant by streamlined shape? Streamlined shape means the first part of the object that face the air, it is the smallest part of the object. أصغر جزء من الجسم، الجزء اللي بيواجه الهواء، هو بيكون أصغر جسم. والانجينيرز أو المهندسين اللي بيصمموا الحاجات دي بيحطوا في اعتبارهم ان هو عاوز السبيد تكون هاي سبيد، عاوز الاير ريزيستنت تبقى قليله جدا، اقل ما يمكن. فهيعمل ايه؟ يخلي السيرفيس اريا very small or small as he can. So by decreasing the surface area, air resistant decrease, and this is called streamlined shapes. بنخليها بشكل انسيابي. الشكل الانسيابي ده بيقلل مقاومه الهواء. Another example, streamlined shapes of birds. Also birds have streamlined shape. أشكالهم برضو انسيابية to decrease air resistance. Here is a question. Give reason. Rockets, train, modern car, and aircraft have streamlined shape. Why? To decrease air resistance, and it will be a short answer. تبقى إجابة قصيرة، نقول to decrease air resistance. بس لو عاوزين نجاوب الإجابة كاملة، to decrease surface area so air resistant decreases. علشان نقلل مساحة السطح اللي أصلاً بتأثر على الاير resistant وهتخليها قليلة. وكده الأوبجكت أو البادي ده اللي أنا عامله يعرف إيه؟ يتحرك بسرعة كبيرة. Examples. Parachutists open their parachute to land safely. في حاجات تانية احنا محتاجين air resistant to decrease our speed. Imagine a parachutist that jump from an airplane or aircraft. في حد بينط من الطيارة ومعاه الباراشوت بتاعه. أكيد السبيد بتاعته will increase. طيب عشان يعمل landing or land safely، عشان ينزل على الأرض بأمان، لازم يعمل إيه؟ لازم يقلل السبيد بتاعته، لازم يقلل سرعته. طيب إيه اللي إحنا أخدناه في المنهج بتاعنا وفي الليسون ده؟ بيعمل act in opposite direction of motion, slows down the object and cause the object to stop. إيه اللي بيخلي الأوبجكت يبطأ ويوقف السرعة بتاعته ويوقف حركته؟ friction force. طيب أنا لو صممت باراشوت بحيث إن هو يكون السيرفيس اريا بتاعه كبير جدا بحيث ان هو يقلل السبيد، بحيث ان هو يخلينا نعمل لاند very safely. يبقى parachutists open their parachute to land safely. Why? Because the surface area of the parachute is very big or huge surface area. Another example, birds stretch their wings on landing. برضو الطيور بتعمل نفس الفكرة. stretch their wings، بيفردوا الجناحات بتاعتهم to land safely, to decrease the speed by increasing the air resistance. Here is a question. Give reason. Parachutists open their parachute on landing. Why? Why they do that? To increase air resistance by increasing surface area, so falling speed decreases, so they land safely. Friction between solid object and water, and this is the third type of friction force. Friction between object, solid object, and water. This type of friction called water resistance. التايب ده بنسميه مقاومة الماء. Water resistant, it is a type of friction force resulting from movement of an object through water. So like what? Water resistant also acts in opposite direction like all friction force. Because it is a friction force, so it acts in opposite direction of motion. Factors affecting water resistance. The same factor that affect air resistant also affect water resistant. The speed of the body, which moves in water. Number 2, the surface area of the moving object. So let's start with the speed of the body. By increasing the speed, water resistant increase. By increasing your speed in water, you feel the resistance of water. بتحس بمقاومة المية أكتر ليك. By decreasing your speed, the water resistance decreases also. So this is the first factor affecting water resistant, the speed of the body. Number 2, the surface area of the moving body. By increasing surface area, water resistant increases, and by decreasing surface area, water resistant decrease, and this is also a direct relation. علاقة مباشرة بين surface area اللي هي مساحة السطح و water resistant مقاومة الماء. We have many examples on this part. Like a fish have streamlined shape. Why fish have streamlined shape? They want to move or to swim in water very easily and by high speed. So this design called streamlined shape to reduce surface area, so the water resistant decrease. By decreasing surface area, فين السيرفيس اريا اللي قلت؟ أول بارت في الفش اللي بيواجه المية اللي هو أول حتة فيها، دي أصغر ولا أكبر جزء فيها؟ أكيد أصغر جزء. أصغر جزء ده هيكون مقاومة الماء ليه قليلة جدا، فبكده الفش تقدر تعوم بسرعة كبيرة من غير ما يكون فيه water resistant كتير. Example number 2. Also ships are designed in streamlined shape. لما احنا نصمم سفينة لازم نصممها in streamlined shape. Why؟ لازم يكون الشكل بتاعها انسيابي. ليه؟ To decrease water resistance. So when we design something that move in water، احنا عاوزينه يتحرك بسرعة تكون كبيرة، مش عاوزين حاجة تقاوم الحركة بتاعته اللي هي ايه اللي هيقاوم؟ الفريكشن فورس، الفريكشن between solid object. في الحالة دي الشيب بتاعتنا والووتر اللي بنسميها water resistant، والwater resistant decrease by decreasing surface area. فهنصمم السفينة بتاعتنا، هنصمم الحاجة اللي عاوزينها تمشي في المية بسرعة، هنصممها in streamline shapes. And here is a question. Give reason. Ships are designed in streamline shapes. Why? to decrease surface area, so water resistance decreases. So this will be great for this lesson. So we have many questions for you to make sure you understand this part very clearly. So let's do them. So let's answer some questions on this part. Questions on lesson number 1. Choose the correct answer. Air resistance increases when the car velocity increase, or car velocity decreases, or the car change its direction. في كتير مننا ممكن ما يعرفش يعني ايه كلمة velocity. What's meant by velocity? Velocity, it is synonym to speed, the same as speed. So the car speed increases, or the car speed decreases, or the car change its direction. Who know? The relation between the speed and air resistance direct relation. فلما نشوف هي direct relation يعني علاقة مباشرة، لما نشوف increases air resistance increases معنى كده إن السبيد زيها بالظبط increases the same like air resistance. So when velocity or the car velocity increases. Question number 2. Birds have streamlined shapes to do what? Increase air resistance عشان يزودوا مقاومة الهواء, decrease air resistance يقللوها, or increase the surface area. احنا أصلا قلنا streamlined shape means surface area decreases أو small surface area, يبقى أكيد مش الاختيار الأخير C. Increase air resistance or decrease air resistance. Streamline shapes to decrease air resistance. Perfect. Next one. Space. It is the friction force resulting from movement of object through water. Movement through water called air resistant, magnetic force, or water resistant. Of course it is water resistance. مقاومة المية علشان بيتحرك الأوبجكت ده بيتحرك خلال إيه؟ خلال الووتر. So it is water resistant. Number 4. Bats space stretch their wings on landing to. So why bats stretch their wings to on landing? Why they do that? To increase surface area, or to number A, increases their surface area, B, increases their air resistance, decreases the speed, or all the previous. They do that. Why? To increase their surface area. It's right. To increase air resistance. Also right. Decrease the speed. يقللوا سرعتهم. أكيد كده كل ده صح. يبقى الإجابة بتاعتنا هتكون all previous answers. كل الإجابات اللي فاتت دي ينفع تكون البات بيعمل ستريتش للوينجز بتاعته، بيمد جناحاته علشان يعمل لاندنج. كل ده هيكون صح. هنختار آخر answer which is all previous answers. Number 5. Fish have streamlined shapes to do what? Increase water resistance, decrease water resistance, increase the surface area. Streamlined shapes to decrease water resistance. Perfect. The last one. By decreasing the speed of ship through water, water resistance do what? Decrease speed. And we said the relation between speed and any friction, if it air resistant or water resistant, it is a direct relation, علاقة مباشرة. Decrease speed, so the resistant or water resistant also decreases, not increases, not still constant. So increases, it will be not correct. Remains constant, we don't have it even. So decreases or increases. By decreasing the speed, water resistant decreases. So that's it. So let's review our lesson. بكده يبقى احنا خلصنا lesson number 1 كله friction force, and we said friction, it is force between two surfaces in contact which is act in opposite direction to motion and cause the object to slow down and stop. في 3 أنواع من الفريكشن: friction between solid bodies, friction between solid object and air which called air resistant, friction between solid and water which called water resistant. علشان نسهل على نفسنا الجزء ده factors affecting friction كلها شبه بعض. factor affecting friction between solid object or factor affecting water resistant or air resistant: speed, direct relation with friction force with water resistant and also with air resistant. By increasing the speed, water resistant or air resistant or friction will increase. حاجة تانية surface area: by increasing surface area the air resistant increase, by decreasing surface area air resistant decrease, and also like it water and all friction force. ده كان ملخص سريع للي احنا قلناه النهارده وفي السيشن اللي فات او في الحلقة اللي فاتت، واشوفكم على خير.